Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good morning to each and every single one of you. We're here to talk football, Chelsea, Manchester United on the agenda. We will be opening the lines for you to come on and have your say. Still one of the only YouTube channels that pretty much every day allows its viewers to phone in to express their opinions and have their say. So make sure that like button is being hit, that you subscribe and turn on the bell notification button. It's literally next to the subscribe button. And sign up to our Discord server. The link for that is in the description below. The chat continues there day in, day out. Terry, keep using the old intro. It's not about the old intro. We have a new match day reaction intro. Eventually we'll have different intros for every style of show that we do. They're in production now, so just watch this space. Just relax on that one. It is what it is. Good morning to you all. How are you all this morning? Of course, we had 2 days of epic Champions League football. No real shockers, to be fair. The majority of the predictions were after the first leg that Liverpool would go out. Well, Real Madrid would go through, Chelsea would go through, PSG would go through, and City would go through. And it all happened. There was no shocks. There was no sort of last-minute goals that sort of wreck things or anything like that, which I thought was quite interesting, actually. That normally you get a bit of a spanner thrown into the works. Hadn't been as many in the knockout stages of the Champions League this year. We are set in a few weeks' time for some absolutely gargantuan semi-finals, and I'm really looking forward to them. We'll be calling them and reviewing them with you here live on the Football Terrace as well. We're here this morning, though, to talk about a couple of bits of transfer news that have come out today. I want to gauge your views. I want to gauge your opinion. We're going to have KG on very soon with this as well. Morning, Indiana. Absolutely right. Make sure you're smashing that like and that share button. As many, well, you can do it once, really. I know some of you have got burner accounts, so just keep logging in with the different accounts and keep doing it as well. Do you know what I mean? Morning, Gabrielle. I hope you are well. I heard about the Varane news. Listen, we are going to touch on the Varane news, but watch our video from yesterday morning. We gave that news yesterday. It's something Man United are tracking and talking to. We've had a number of conversations with their entourage and representatives, and they've made it very, very clear they don't want to remain at Real Madrid. The reason hasn't really been revealed, but Man United have advanced talks and are pushing forward, and we'll delve into that story a little bit later. But I want to start off with Chelsea, because Chelsea have been keeping close tabs. They've had conversations with representatives, and they have made inroads, and in some reports, even offers to try and sign the Sevilla defender, Jules Kounde, who is very well touted. Lots of people have huge respect for him as a centre-back, and they want to look at bringing him in. Man United have been looking at him. City have been linked with him in the past, and Chelsea in recent weeks have been heavily linked with him. The news is increasing week in, week out. As far as from credible sources such as David Ornstein reported this. Interestingly for Chelsea, a summer 2020 target has now been made available. News coming out of Spain in the last 24 hours is that Atletico Madrid want to have a fairly major clear out this summer. And Gimenez is a player that's linked with the move away, along with Saul Niguez, who is, of course, a long-standing Manchester United midfield target. It does appear that Atletico want to raise some money, and both Saul Niguez and Gimenez are on the list of players to go. Now, Chelsea have been long admirers of Jose Gimenez and are interested in bringing him to Stamford Bridge. And it puts Chelsea in a really commanding position. The reports I've read this morning suggest that Chelsea are leading the race for both players. Both Jules Kounde and Gimenez would like to come and play at Stamford Bridge. There's been good conversations with representatives or intermediaries thereof. And Chelsea are leading the race. This is great news for Chelsea fans because it puts them into a position of power. You've got two very good centre-backs. Personally, I think Jules Kounde is better. Everybody's going to have a difference of opinion on that. But it puts Chelsea in a position to pick one of those two that they really like. Or, on the other hand, you could look to go down a different avenue. There are some Chelsea fans, even in this live chat this morning, that have simply said, well, what about Tomori? They think Tomori's as good. Why don't we just stick with him? The way I would look at this as a rival, I look at it from a positive point of view for Chelsea, but a negative standpoint from my own self is I'm really not happy. I'm really not happy with Chelsea being linked with that level of player. Plus, they still have the option to say, actually, we're not going to bother. We're going to give Tomori another opportunity. The power play is with Chelsea. they've got 3 excellent options. And all of you as viewers are going to rank them in different ones. And that's what I want you to do for me this morning. I want you to comment either live or in the comment section below if you're watching the playback, and rank it from 1 to 3, 1 being your first choice, 3 being the last one you would pick. Who would you choose? Gimenez, Jules Kounde, or Tomori to be the centre-back that gets reintroduced or introduced to the defensive line of Chelsea next season? You're heavily linked with 2 of them, reportedly leading the race to sign the 2, but you have Tomori that is also available and is doing very, very well at AC Milan. A lot of the Milan sort of alumni think he's absolutely brilliant. So should he be a priority for Chelsea moving forward? I want your views. I want your opinions on that. The Raphael Varane news. Now, the Raphael Varane news is interesting because he keeps telling Real Madrid that he's not going to re-sign. He wants to leave the Bernabeu. He wants to play his trade elsewhere. Man United look at him as an ideal partner for Harry Maguire. They believe the way Varane plays, the way he orchestrates the defense, will complement Harry Maguire massively. We all know that we need an elite level partnership at the back to elevate Manchester United to that next level. Whether you have Ole as your coach or not, we need a better partnership. Eric Bailly would be perfect, but his body just is not considered by the Man United medical team as being strong enough to stand the test of time, so they're looking to move him on. We know the partnership between Maguire and Lindelof has soft spots on a regular occurrence. Is Raphael the individual you want to see happen? Is that enough of a marquee signing or the quality of player that you think is going to propel Manchester United forward? The reports are strong. They're coming out from Spanish press. They've come out from some of the world's leading transfer journalists, as well as the domestic press here in the UK, that Man United are leading the race. They've now advanced the situation with Raphael Varane, with the season coming to an end very, very soon. It appears they will be placing a bid for between 60 and 70 million pounds to land the maybe that's 4 times winning Champions League centre-back. And I want your views. I want your opinions on that right about now. Make sure you're smashing that like and share button. I'm going to put the link out now for you to call in and have your say. We're going to put it in the comment section below. So if you want to come on, if you want to have your say this morning, make sure you're getting that done. It would mean a great deal to us if you would. I'm just sharing that link right now. Let's do some of your comments here before I bring KJ in. Just give me a few seconds here. I actually want to find some comments where you're actually talking about the transfer as opposed to shouting at each other. I know the chat room's there for you to do what you want with, but sometimes it's hard to like sieve through the nonsense. Chelsea are linked with everyone, but we all know we'll get players like Braithwaite and Willy Bolly over Haaland and Kounde. Well, at Chelsea, listen, all the big clubs get linked with multiple players, but you have to look at the sources of these informations. 90% of the links that I see on social media for players, when you delve into it and you read it, it's like Man United. The headline was like Man United linked with mega money move for Benzema. And then you watch or read the article and it's some obscure presenter on a BBC talk show that says that's who he would buy. So it's not really a link to a player. You had a big link, Arsenal to Jack Grealish about 2 months ago. And it was an opinion piece from a journalist. That's not a link. And I think football fans get they don't actually read the articles. They just read the headlines. When you actually think about it, the 2 major centre-backs that Chelsea have been linked with in the last 3 to 4 weeks have been Jules Kounde and Gimenez. It's the only 2, or Tomori returning. All the other stories are just opinion pieces, puff pieces. There's nothing of any real substance. There's been no Ornstein, there's been no Fabrizio, there's been no major outlet from a certain country come out and say Chelsea are doing X, Y, or Z. Haaland news has come from credible sources. So they're not actually linked. Big clubs don't get linked with actually as many players as you think. All that happens is newspapers kind of create sort of headlines that make it sound like there's a link, when in fact it's more just a case of somebody giving. It's like me sitting here and saying I think Chelsea should sign John Stones. I'm not famous. No one really cares what I think so much. So if all the newspapers then suddenly said Chelsea linked with John Stones' move, that isn't an official link. It's just based on someone's opinion. So I wouldn't get too drawn into those kind of things if I was you. Morning, Strip Bear. Hope you are well. And thank you very much to RF Boxing for signing up and becoming an official legendary member of the Football Terrace. We're going to bring KJ on now to have you say this morning. KJ, morning, mate. How are you?
The sun is shining. It is beautiful, you know what I'm saying? We have football. I looked at the schedule. We have football every day until the 29th of April, Friday the 29th. That's when there's like an English break of the top tier football. The best European competition is tonight as well, like hands down. I pay every time I say it. And yeah, Man United linked to Varane. Terry, I made a Twitter post like last week or like the start of the week, and it said the transfer window I want but will not get, and it was Jadon Sancho, Lautaro Martinez, Declan Rice, and Rafael Varane. We have been linked to all four of those players in this past week. We are not getting any of them. I am so shocked, fam. Like this is like I want Varane so much, but I am a part of me is worried about two things. One, Varane following his captain, basically his mentor in Ramos, and drawing up interest, saying you're gonna leave, and then just getting the new bumper contract that you've been wanting all along from Real Madrid. There is that, and I'm also worried about Man United as a football club. They're not actually trying to get Varane. Again, they're trying to make it out like they are in the market for a world-class centre-back. Yeah, Varane, we're going for it. The new structure, Murtaugh and Fletch doing their thing. And then they don't actually go for him. And we do just end up with Ben White because, it's just no value to the market. Varane didn't really want to... Listen, it's all... I'm just worried about those two things. But overall, as a transfer, bring me Varane. Bring him here to the theatre. I'm begging.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. There's always, because of what, in fairness, the whole kind of stress element with the Varane link and using Man United for a bigger contract, it only really happens with Sergio Ramos. And if you actually listen to, again, the experts, I know like we have all got a voice and we give fans a voice. Sometimes a fan opinion grows roots. And people they take a fan opinion that was put on the internet and they treat it as gospel. I remember someone phoning in, I don't remember what YouTube channel it was, saying that they think the reason that LVG doesn't substitute Rooney is because he has a clause in his contract that says he can't be substituted, right? Which was just a fan opinion ranting after a game. It become a fact. It was everywhere. I just saw hundreds and thousands of people during games when Rooney was going through all the trepidation of his form dropping, the clause. It become like the obscure fan opinion became a myth, which became a fact because no one checked it. If you actually listen to the Spanish transfer experts that spoke about the Sergio Ramos deal, Sergio Ramos was legitimately contemplating a move to Manchester United. In the end, he just had a better offer from Real Madrid. And to be honest with you, think about it. He was right to stay. They went and won four Champions Leagues in 5 years. They just convinced him of a better deal. When you listen to the likes of Graham Hunter and transfer experts from Spain, it wasn't just we're going to use Manchester United. There was a legitimate link. We just didn't win. We didn't have a good enough negotiating team, and we lost the transfer. There is an opportunity to bring someone like a Rafael Varane in. I still think if not a bigger club than us, but a club in a better position than Man United comes in, they can take him away. On the Chelsea news, Gimenez they were linked with him all summer. It seemed like in the summer, Chelsea fans really wanted Gimenez. They seemed that seems to kind of powder away a little bit. They're not too interested in Gimenez at all. Lots of links with Jules Kounde. I will shout out that we were the first, even before the mainstream media outlets were putting these links out there a few weeks ago that Chelsea were talking to. Ornstein about a week ago confirmed that Chelsea are seriously monitoring. They've made contact. There's been talks with representatives. A lot of Chelsea fans are also saying they're both good players, but we have Tomori. If you're a Chelsea fan, or in fact, you're the Chelsea manager and you get to pick one of those three to add to your defensive line, who are you going for?
Tomori. I'm going for Tomori. He's grown up in England, he's experienced, and he's had a loan away, which again, as the manager, wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? It wasn't my fault that Tomori went out on loan. That's the actions of the previous manager and why that's happened. So I would want him to come back and show what he can do, because the amount of praise and love he's getting out in a team like AC Milan, who had a resurgence, and they're some of the greatest defenders ever have come through their club, and they're talking about him like he can become a next top centre back. Why would I not want to try that out myself? You know what I'm saying? So I would personally pick Tomori, and they even have Malang Sarr, who's out on loan on Porto. He's also out there too. So Chelsea already have options out on loan already, and if they really want Haaland, you can't be going out and spend. Personally, I don't think you should be going out and spending 80 million on Jules Kounde when you've got two options already to come back in and fill any gaps that you have. They have a plethora of defenders and centre backs. They need to get rid of some anyway. So I personally, if I was the manager, I'm picking Tomori over those three. Gimenez's reputation is not as high as it used to be. I remember before, like a couple of years ago, name on everyone's lips, the Godin and Gimenez partnership, world class, everything. But it's gone down in recent years. And then Kounde, great up and coming centre back from what I've heard. I've seen a little bits of him here and there, and he looks good. But the height it might be an issue for the Premier League, and we don't know if he'll be able to adapt. So Tomori is my bet.
Yeah, and look, I don't think anything you said there is challengeable is wrong. It's certainly opinion based. I suppose it's the case of they've got those two young defenders. Do you go for a bit more experience in Gimenez? Do you go for it? Players that play that it could be a case of we'll give one of those young ones a chance next year. So let's bring Tomori back, but we also want to add Gimenez in because actually, in the cold light of day, a Rudiger Christensen, and it's a question for Chelsea fans: a Rudiger Christensen and Zuma really of the level? Is the reason you're playing a back three because they're not none of them are trusted enough to play in a back two, and Thiago Silva, that we know is world class, is in the twilight of his career? Maybe there is a thought, maybe there's a notion to bring Tomori back, loan Sarr out for another season to get him experience, but also bring in a Gimenez or and say, listen, thank you very much, Rudiger, you're off now, or thank you and slowly sort of take out the more experienced defenders. I'd love to know what Chelsea fans have got to say. We're going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say in a few moments. Please make sure you're smashing that like button. Share this stream on your social media platforms as well. So share it in your Facebook streams. Ask people to come on and give their views and opinions. Share it. I know you guys have got so many football WhatsApp groups, so go and do the same. Share it in the Discord and all that jazz. We're going to go to some comments first, and then we're going to go to callers. We've got Indiana backstage. We've got Mr. Anthony. We've got Max. We've got Vivishwan as well that we're going to get onto the show. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. Vivishwan. I think you got that right. That is good.
Yeah, I just call him Vel, and he's changed his DP from Jiraiya to Sasuke. So
there we go. The Undertaker CFC says Tomori is not coming back. Go on.
So my question is it an option to buy, or is it obligation? So if it's an obligation, then cool, isn't it? Like, he is definitely not coming back.
I think it's an option to buy, which Chelsea are in control of.
So if Chelsea are in the control of the option, he can come back. Now, if Tomori is willing to, obviously that's a different conversation altogether. But I think Thomas Tuchel could convince him to come back due to the fact that, be like, yeah, listen, I'm better than Frank Lampard. I will treat you better than he did. I'll give you games. I can improve your game. Look at Christensen. Look at your fellow people. Yeah. Look how much they've improved under you. So,
you might even find, you're right. You might even find that they're looking at Kounde and Gimenez because they might not be able to convince Tomori to return. Tomori might say, actually, I want to go. The damage has been done. I don't want to come back. I'm not saying he will, but he may do that. And it'd be very stupid of Chelsea to have no other irons in the fire. Equally, convincing Tomori will save you money. And Chelsea want to put all their money. We know what the player that Chelsea want to spend their money on this season, and it's a man like Haaland. But just yourself there, CFC Undertaker. I found something about our new partnership we're entering into. They're very well connected with the WWE. To a point where I don't know these things existed until yesterday, but we have direct access to their UK-based elite training camp where they train up the next generation of WWE wrestlers and stuff like that. Like, it's a crazy level, but I didn't realize they were that well engrossed with WWE until yesterday. So yeah, I'm not a wrestling fan per se, but football Terrace viewers that like wrestling, watch this space. That's all I'm going to say
You know
to
what I'm saying? Yo, man like Lincoln will be leading the charge in that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mentioned him actually yesterday. I was chatting to them about him as well. MMA stuff as well is huge over there. So yeah, we've got some synergy to be created there. Let's do a few more of these comments. Gimenez is world class, but glass built. Does he have a bad injury record? Yeah, 22 games he's played this season. Let's have a look at his injury record because I don't know.
yeah, I didn't realize there was an issue.
My
Is it
God.
bad?
My God. That is
bad, isn't it?
It's fuck my boots. My word, right? I'm telling you now, right? So in 2019, as far as I can, in 2019, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 injuries. 2019-20 season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 injuries. This season, corona, muscle problems, thigh problem, muscle injury, muscular problems. Another 5 injuries this year. Yeah.
Chelsea, don't do it. Don't do it.
Him off. No, don't
do it. There's a reason. Okay, so Atletico Madrid don't let go of their top stars very easily. We've seen that over the years. Look how long they held on to Griezmann and how hard it was for him to leave and stuff. They're openly willing to let go of this guy who is their best centre back or the next coming of Godin. Don't do it. The injury record for it speaks for itself. Do not do it.
Averages 5 injuries a season. And the days missed during those injuries is around 60 days a season. So the geezer's missing a third of your season every year. Don't do it, Chelsea. I didn't know that. I got pointed out. Mike here, the super chat says, "Big up, my guys. Can see Chelsea signing Hakimi, Donnarumma, and Haaland this summer. By the way, Foden for the Ballon d'Or. Lol. Do you know what? Do you know what I love? Foden. I know it'll be done by his marketing team, right? But Foden's tweet last night, did you see what he added?
Yeah.
And said, "Are you ready?"
Oh, yeah, but no, it's mad, yeah. So like he actually wasn't happy about that, him personally. He thought that was a bit disrespectful. So he's come out and said like that was okay. Yeah. He wasn't too pleased about his media team doing that. Lord behold, a certain Gary Neville comes out and defends Foden and says, "Guy, like, I've been telling you the boys for a while. Take control of your Instagram accounts. Don't leave it to social media teams. Your authenticity and character, and you're losing it. Blah blah blah." I'm sitting there like, But when a certain Paul Pogba had the same situation happen to him, a scheduled post by his media team comes out, you there lambasting him, calling it garbage excuse, saying you don't believe him. I wonder why the tune has changed. I wonder.
Are you calling Gary Neville racist?
No, I'm not calling Gary Neville racist. I'm just saying, man's a hypocrite in it. Like, I don't mind if you come out and said, "Oh, I've seen this situation before. I've learned from it. So Foden, here's my advice for it." You know what I'm saying? But he's not doing that. I'm saying that man's got different energy when it comes to certain people.
Why do you think
they play for Man United?
Why do you think he's got a different energy for Pogba?
Because he plays for Man United. Because he is a talented player, and I think because he liked Mourinho more than he did Pogba as a person.
Right.
And I'm just like, like clearly you had an issue with Paul Pogba the person. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna give the same advice to Foden, you should be going back and saying what I said about Paul Pogba was wrong. And these social media teams are the ones.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I don't like things being like people. You leave things open to interpretation. I think that's fair. It's one of those things where if you got it wrong about Pogba, admit you got it wrong about Pogba, and say, "Listen, I've learned that these guys don't control their accounts. I used to think they did. Look what I said about Paul Pogba. I was wrong there, but I stand by what I say in the sense of it's a weak. I still think it's a weak excuse in the sense of take control of your social media accounts. Like you shouldn't be allowing these people to do it in that way. I mean, Jesse Lingard had a situation where a marketing tweet went out in the middle of
there's a minute silence. Yeah,
silence. It's just these little things. The players are ultimately accountable for who they put in charge of their social media accounts. But you're absolutely right. The scathing attack on someone like Pogba, like, oh no, it's not immediate. Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally get where you're coming from there. 110%. There's no doubt about it. We're going to go to some more calls now. We're going to let people come on and have their say. Make sure like buttons are being hit, share buttons, all that jazz. First up on the show with us this morning, we're going to get man like Lincoln. They're not Lincoln. His name isn't Lincoln. His name is actually Indiana. I don't know why I called Indiana Lincoln, but I did. Morning, mate. Welcome back on the show. What you saying, bro?
Chelsea, man. If I'm Chelsea, I'm taking Tomori. I'm taking him back. I like this guy a lot. I know Monster was pretty upset when he went out on loan. But this guy, he's got everything, I think. Potentially, he could be a top player. He's quick. He's strong. He's aggressive. He's pretty good on the ball. I think Chelsea will take him back. And I think if they're going to go for a Haaland and other top targets, there's talk of them needing a DM. There's talk of them looking at Donnarumma, bringing him in. I think Tomori has to come back. I think he's ready. I think he's played really well in Serie A. He'd be perfect in there. And I think if you can get another season out of Thiago, maybe not fitness-wise playing, but being at the club at least, I think that would really help him as well. So if I'm Chelsea, I'm taking Tomori back next season. And if I'm a Chelsea fan, I want him back. I would want him back.
I hear you on that. What's your thoughts on Man United's advanced links with Raphael Varane? Is it a signing you want? Do you think it will happen?
It's a signing I want. The biggest issue for me is there's a lot of factors here. So I would like Declan Rice to come in. I think that has to be priority number one. The other thing we've got to think about is if Cavani leaves, we know we need a right winger, we need a striker, but if Cavani leaves, that makes it harder. Should we be spending money on a defender? If that happens, no, I don't think we should. We should probably get, if the Sancho deal's available or a Rafinha, whoever it may be. But priority one needs to be a Declan Rice, a DM. And you'll see the defense improve slightly with having a DM there anyway. Remember what Michael Carrick used to do, and I'm not comparing them both, Declan Rice and Michael Carrick, but he would pick up those spaces. He'd already be there. Very rarely you would see Michael Carrick having to sprint across the back line to pick up a ball. He'd already be there, and that helps. Having a player that we can give the ball to, who can distribute it well, that's going to help us defensively as well. But Varane, who's going to say no to Varane? I just don't think it's the priority right now. I think we've got bigger problems.
No, I do understand that. Do you know, I will say, and this isn't a slide at you, this is just football fans in general. I want to see us doing the work for someone like a Varane, because there are no guarantees that we're going to sign our main targets in CDM role. We said for years that we have to go back in time. We've had Moyes tell us this, LVG and Jose tell us that the club signed players that weren't even in their top 3 or 4 list. It was like makeshift midfielders or strikers or defenders. And it was frustrating because they didn't fit what they want. We don't want that to happen anymore. So if for instance, we've highlighted 2 players as our main targets for CDM, Rice and Ndidi, I'm just naming very obvious targets for the sake of the conversation. If we can't land either of them, should we not sign a centre-back? Do you get my? If we recognize the right wing as our area, number 1 target Sancho, number 2 target was Neto, and he's now out injured, and this 3rd target is Rafinha. Say Leeds refuse to negotiate with anybody, and we can't get Jadon Sancho for either money reasons or he picks up an injury like Neto and isn't available. Should we not sign a striker and then wait until those players are fit again the next year? Do you get where I'm coming from? There's this element of we have to work on multiple deals at the same time in case something goes wrong with a particular deal that we're looking at. Otherwise, you'll end up with signing nobody. Do you get what I mean? Like, we all know that right wing and CDM are the priorities. If you can't land your top 1, 2 targets, which is what Man United fans have been demanding we do and how we behave for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, we should still then go. You should then sign your number 1 targets in your 3rd and 4th priority positions. Should you not, or should you just not sign anyone? And that's not challenge to you. I hear that from people saying we shouldn't sign a centre back because we need a CDM first. But what if you can't get your main CDM targets?
The problem is, Terry, is that we know United, and we know that we need 4 or 5 players, right? I think we need a backup right back as well. Eventually, Wan-Bissaka is going to pick up an injury. He's not going to be fit for every game forever. Do you know what I mean? And we need a different option there. We know United are not going to go out and buy 4 top targets. And if you believe that, please go see a doctor. It's not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. They're not going to go out and buy a Haaland, a Sancho, a Declan Rice, and a Varane. You're never going to see that. And I don't think we'll get 4 players either, KJ, if that's what you're going to say. I don't think
No. I wasn't even going to mention. I was going to say potentially Varane may not come underneath the whole priority main marquee signing. It could have come underneath the whole. Well, we needed a centre back. It just so happened to be Varane was available, so we got him. He wasn't actually the marquee money that they're saving the money for. You know what I'm saying? So there is a chat. I don't believe this is to be true, but it could be like the marquee signing is the Jadon Sancho, and Varane is one of those signings where we're like, okay, we'll get what is available, and it just so happens to be Varane who's available to come in and take that spot.
KJ, it's a problem though. Do you know what's a big problem is if it's true that Bailly wants to leave, and personally I think he should leave. I think he's picking up too many injuries in the Premier League. Maybe the north of England isn't good for injuries for him anyway. If that happens and Cavani is to leave, our priorities will change. We'll have to get a centre back. Lindelof's already carrying a back injury.
But
we'll need a striker.
Say we won't sign 4 players though. Where I disagree with that is I just was looking. I say disagree. I just have a look here. On average, since the summer of 2014, so not Moyes' summer, we've averaged 4.5 players per summer, and I'm talking first team players. If that makes sense, there's been a couple of times where it's been 5 or 6. There's been a few times where it's been 2 or 3, but generally it's around 4 to 4.5 players that we bring in over the course of a window. We can do it. What we're not going to do is 4 marquee signings. So we're not signing, in my opinion, Sancho, Kane, Declan Rice, and Varane. That isn't happening. What you'll find, what you may find, is that we sign 2 marquee players in one of those 4 positions, and then you see the other 2 players are kind of backup options that we've got. So it's, we might buy. You might buy another backup striker if Cavani leaves, and not a superstar striker if, for instance, we land Jadon Sancho as an example. We buy the big CDM, we might not get another centre-back. We might just go, do you know what, let's get some cover for the right-back position because it's a cheaper option, and we'll address the centre-back area a year later. So I still think we'll sign 3 or 4 players this time because we normally do. But fixing all 4 holes is probably not going to happen. We're going to go to some more calls, gents. We're obviously talking Chelsea today as well. Heavy links with Gimenez, as Atletico Madrid are looking to have a clear out this summer, but he does have, it's brought to our attention on the show, a colossal injury record. Big links with Jules Kounde. Chelsea are leading the race to bring the young centre-back to the Premier League. But by the sounds of it, most of you Chelsea fans want the likes of Tomori and Sarr to be given an opportunity. So we want to hear from you right now. The link is being put into the comment section for you to come on and have your say. Next on the show, we've got Mr. Anthony. What you saying, bro?
Morning, Terry.
Morning. What do you want to say, buddy?
As KJ and Indiana pointed out, I would like Tomori back as well. I believe Tuchel believes in our academy, and he believes in academy players, and he has been playing quite a bit of academy players as well. And I think I've pointed it out. I think Thiago is staying on for another year as well, which would help us a lot. With Malangsa coming at the end of the season, that makes how many centre backs? 6 centre backs with us.
Yeah,
so
6 or 7.
That's a lot of centre backs to have. I think one might leave. Never know. However, but if we wanted Jules Kounde or Gimenez, we would get it eventually because we are Chelsea and don't care about money, to be honest. It's just how Chelsea are. However, I would love to see Tomori back. I think he has great potential. It's a cheaper option, and we know that he can do a good job as well at Chelsea. It is what it is. However, I do have one question for you guys. I was just hearing this conversation in I think in one of Rance's streams a couple of days ago. Yeah. Do you guys think Mourinho should go out from Tottenham and start managing international teams?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, we spoke about this here. I think it's been a conversation everywhere. That was brought up on the Terrace a few times. Most people think that's a good place for him to go if he is going to continue managing, simply because it's not as intensive. He isn't around the players each and every single day. He's less likely. He can't be angry about transfer windows or anything like that because you can only pick based on nationality. So it would be a good option for him. I'm still unconvinced, though. I'm still unconvinced in the sense of I don't know how I don't think he can handle conflict very well anymore. And there's still a question mark over it because there's still going to be conflict at international level. It's how he behaves in those situations. Interestingly, he won't be able to throw things like how many trophies he's won because internationally he's a novice and he's not won anything. So maybe that'll calm him down.
Funny.
Mr. Anthony, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Yes, Cage?
I don't know, it'll be funny. You say like he hasn't got the transfer window to complain about to moan. I guarantee you'll be like, well, I joined this country and the pool of players are not good enough. Is that my fault? You know, I can see him complaining about like the country.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Say he takes over even his beloved Portugal. They go out of a tournament. I could see Jose Mourinho basically saying, well, I've been managing this country for 2 years. I'm not in charge of its youth development. I'm not in charge of how much the government spends on football. That's all down to them. They have basically given me an average squad by their lack of investment for the last 15 years. It's not my fault. That's how he'll behave if he fails, I feel. And that's where even at international level, it could become tiresome. He's just lost the ability to take accountability for his own failings. And that's generally, I've seen this in my own career when I've worked with the elder statesmen, the people that used to be the young bucks, top of the South charts, you know, respected in the industry as being market leaders, but the world changed, clients change, technology changes, what the business they work for wants changes, and they haven't adapted with the times. I remember when they made us in with my last job, they stopped everyone from wearing like overtly like the sort of typical pinstripe suits, waistcoats, and ever sort of like we just don't want that look anymore. We want it to be a bit more of a relaxed thing. And these guys are still turning up. One guy still used to turn up in a bowler hat, bruv. Had a bowler hat on still, like he was working in the.
How
70s.
old are you, Terry?
What are you talking about? I'm 36.
Bowler hats, man.
Oh, bro, I'm talking about high end.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about high end.
But no one's wearing bowler hats now, are they?
Brother, how many times how many private banking offices have you sat in?
About none.
My point. I'm talking about not my age group. You misheard. I'm talking about the old heads. There's this one dude at 65. He's been doing the job since his 20s. So 40 years, right? So that puts him in the 70s. Man, we're still coming up. And his little bowler hat on. He used to come in with his umbrella every day. Like the thick, almost as thick as these pinstripes on his suit. And it was like, bro, like, this is not the 70s anymore. You got to get out of this. And that's the point. Jose's that guy. I see Jose in these old men I used to work with that used to be like, oh, you know, different in my day. Yeah, but it ain't your day anymore. This is the new world, and you're not very good at it. I am. So listen to it. We're gonna go to some more calls here. Next up, we've got Lincoln coming on soon. We're gonna go to Vivishwa. Welcome back to the show, mate. What are you saying?
What's up, Terry, KJ, Indiana? How are you guys doing today?
All good, Val. All good. What do you want to say?
Talk about the Chelsea transfer. I feel like they need to bring back Tomori. Like, all I'm just saying is Tomori don't concede 5 goals to West Brom, unlike your Rudigers, Zumas, and them, man, right there. They don't concede 5 goals. And with the Gimenez, I think they're probably linked to him because Pulisic is lonely in the hospital bed. They need some company there, right? That's what they need. Speaking on
Go on, mate.
the Man United one, I feel like give Varane, I think it'd be a good signing because you need someone to partner with Maguire. I don't think Lindelof is good as he is. I think Bailey's good, but he's too injury prone. You need to get someone that's going to be fit week in, week out. And that's the problem. You need like centre-back partnerships that will play week in, week out because that's how you're going to win titles with a strong defence.
Val, can I ask you a question as a Liverpool fan? Do you want a centre-back to come into Liverpool? Because I know you've bought 2 and obviously Van Dijk will hopefully come back next season, but that's a serious injury and we don't know because of the way he plays. He's quite an explosive player for a big guy. He might not ever come back to being the Van Dijk because ACL is a serious injury, right? So when you look at all the other clubs picking interested in centre backs, are you happy with what Liverpool have got there? Are you wanting Liverpool to pick up one of these?
They're interested in one already, Indiana. They've already apparently, they're about to activate the release clause and had the medicals of Konate already, potentially.
That deal is done if Liverpool want it to be done. It's there.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's ready to go. It is right now. And again, I think that's the irony is that's as risky as that Gimenez deal. He's younger, but that geezer's had pure injury problems as well. He really, really has. Vel, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Top man. Make sure you're all hitting that like button, that share button, and all that jazz. Next up on the show, we've got man like Fixer. What you saying, Fixer?
Yeah, hi guys. I just wanted to say, I really hope United signs Varane because I think that's gonna be our missing link in defense. Eric Bailly is gonna leave because he doesn't want to sign a new contract, and I'm not even sure why we're offering him a new contract, but that's another story. But yeah, once Varane comes in, I think we'll have that. Like, I think Harry Maguire is a good defender. Like beginning of the season he was a bit shit, but he's kind of turned up lately, and I think him and Varane will make a good centre back pair. Lindelof would have to be on the bench, or either play in the back five. Maybe we can play him in there, and he can play right back as well, Lindelof. So he's still gonna feature.
Lindelof won't be going. Lindelof will stay, but
yeah. Back up Lindelof. I'm cool with. You know what I've heard a lot of this. There's a lot of talk of Varane. He's not a leader. He needs a leader next to him. He's not at that stage. He will flop without Ramos. You see Varane, yeah. I personally, I can see him coming to United and relishing the challenge of becoming that leader, because people always say Maguire's not the leader and he needs one next to him. Well, you've got a 4 times Champions League winner. I feel like Man United can give him the platform to prove to everyone this whole myth about not having being a leader can dispel it. You can dispel it here.
And that's a great point, because people say, well, what can Man United offer him that Real Madrid can't? That element of, I'm going to prove to you that I can go and lead another defense back to being British. These things matter to football. Now, we've had experts on here, transfer experts, football experts. You listen to what football players say. Like, people don't read enough and watch enough for what comes out of football players' mouths. We've seen that before on the Terrace, where people are like, doesn't take players a long time to adapt to Holland. Like coming from Holland to UK,
you can drive there.
That's nonsense. And then you literally see interviews again. Ziyech and his people have said it's the league. We're struggling with it. Like, people that know Ziyech and go, he's a great player, but it's so hard when you move. Dirk Kuyt's come out recently and said the same thing about Donny. It's like, why do you not just listen to what the pros and the experts are telling you before you express opinions on things? And that challenge could be something that Rafael Varane might want to step up to. Fixer, appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. I want to show you something. I want to show you a picture, peeps. I want to show you this picture. I found it on the website. So this is what some of the old men used to look like. Used to turn up to my work. Here's a picture of them. This is only a few years ago. Like, this is what mans were turning up like, bruv. Look at them.
Oh dear.
In their day, right? That was the thing. Still turning up like looking like that, bruv. And then the young ones were just like, nah, bruv, we're not about that. We're not. I ain't. Joe, I would dress like that if I was going to a wedding, bruv. I ain't dressing like that going to work, bruv.
Man like Benedict and that, all the man there, and Franklin.
It was such a weird, like, vain world, right? So we always used to carry like our paperwork around to meetings in like these leather sort of folder things. On my first day, they said, I saw everyone with them. So I went and bought one before I started in the department. I went and bought mine from W.H. Smith, right? It was pleather. It looked all right. And I turned up and I came in the morning, took it out of my bag, put it on my desk, sat down. And I always remember my guy, I'm not going to name him on here because he's quite a private guy, doesn't have social media, but my guy, Chet's, I was going to Chet's. I can say his first name, Chetan. A good friend of mine come up to me and says, yeah, you can't be having that here, mate. I was like, what? He basically said, look at everyone else. Everyone have Mulberry and other like high-end designer names. And I'm like, they're like 400, 500 pounds for a leather carry case. He went, well, that's the name of the game, bro. You've got to look the part when you turn up. And I remember the first 6 months I worked there, the amount of money I went out and spent on suits. And I'd never spent £200 on a pair of work shoes. And I did, because it was like, they basically said, when you go into these meetings with people you're trying to sell to, they are like ultra high net worth people. If you come in wearing what they consider a cheap neck suit with scruffy shoes and this W.H. Smith carry, they're not going to take you seriously. And in fairness, they were right. Like, in terms of at the part, and it was, but it was kind of nice. Like, so you had to go to get these shirts. It was kind of cool. Like, I'm never from that world really. When I got like my suits tailor made and shirts tailor made. If you've never had a tailor made suit on, trust me, they fit just like a glove. It's amazing. Like, you buying off the peg. It's something I don't want to go back to, but yeah, man, it was. Yeah, it was like, geez, Terry, how old are you? Peaky Blinders here, right? Listen, I wouldn't mind dressing I did that once. Again, I got sent home. I bought like a Peaky Blinders stuff, like the round thingy. I bought the shirt. It was in, I can't remember what shirt shop I was in up west. And I bought the shirt and I wore it into work. And they just said, no, it's not when the dress sent home. I come in once and I didn't have the beard trimmed enough. I had too much stubble. Either go home or shave, or go to the shop and buy shaving stuff and get it done. Or go and see the guy that does the shaving downstairs. So I went and got a shave down. Honestly, it was levels. Women used to get sent on how to do your makeup courses so that their makeup was done. It couldn't be like going out to a nightclub or whatever you call it. It had to be done to a certain. It was honestly, it was mad. It was a mad world, but I did enjoy it. It was an eye opener, no doubt. We're gonna go to more callers here. First up, we're gonna go to Lincoln in a minute. Brand new member signed up today. ERF Boxing's with us. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, all good. What do you want to talk about, bro?
I'm a Man United fan, so the Varane deal. Everybody's saying Lindelof's not good. Lindelof's good enough when he's not playing with Maguire. So if Bailly's going to leave and Lindelof's going to be a backup, that's not bad, because even when he plays with Varane, that should work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I do agree, and I think it's about partnerships. Like, Rio Ferdinand was a top-class centre-back always for Man United until the end, until the last few years where he was past his best slightly. But he was definitely better when he played with Vidic as opposed to playing with Mikel Silvestre. You know, it's about partnerships. And if you have two very good defender and a world-class defender next to each other, I can't see it going wrong. The difference in Chelsea's backline when Thiago Silva plays compared to when he doesn't, you see for me, you just see a difference in organization and everything. It's just a shame Thiago Silva's, like, for footballing terms, is old. I say that because we're practically the same age. I'm not gonna say he's an old man because that ain't fair. Do you think Man United can pull off the Rafael Varane deal though?
I have no faith in it whatsoever.
My guy.
I have no faith in it whatsoever, but hopefully we can. I think we do need another centre back, especially if Bailly's going to leave. Bailly's probably the best footballing centre back we've got, but can't be trusted. So we need to let him go and get somebody we can trust, and that will give you the amount of games what we need from a quality centre back.
Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. Great call, and thank you for signing up to the membership, mate. It means a great deal to it. Top man, thank you. And remember, becoming a member, you're going to slowly over the next couple of weeks start to see our partnership come to life, new segments added to the shows, us going live on different platforms, and over the course of time, brand new content being developed, interviews, partnerships aplenty. We're really excited about what's coming. There's going to be a fair amount of new membership content, plus what we're looking to do, and I'm not going to reveal too much right now, but with our partners that work in different with across different sports and with multiple other brands, you'll find that membership from the Football Terrace is going to give you exclusive access to things outside of the Football Terrace as well. So you can sign up now from as little as 99p per month. Get that done. Get motoring on forward from there. Someone says here, Twisted, I love Twisted, says, Terry, can you quantify the myth that Maguire plays better with certain defenders? Well, my view would be this, just anecdotally, without having to go into the granular detail. When he plays with Eric Bailly is, in my opinion, a better ball-playing centre-back. So it takes the pressure off Maguire having to do the majority of the ball playing, as an example. It lets him sit back and concentrate on defending. Secondly, Eric Bailly is a better organiser. Because the backline is organised better, more players are caught offside. We're in our defensive positions more, and it doesn't lead to players like Maguire being caught out as much. Maguire pushes up with Shaw and with Lindelof, but AWB's sitting back, and then on the right-hand side, someone gets in behind. We're caught out because of a lack of organisation, and Maguire lacks the mobility as a player to then recover that situation. So being better organised means you don't have those scenarios occur so much. Another element that relies on athleticism is we can play a higher line. Maguire can be the individual then that does what he does well, by the way. One of the highest win percentages of defensive duels in elite end European football. But as and when he does get turned and played past, by the way, happens to every single defender on planet Earth. The only defender in the last 4 years that has a better defensive dual win ratio than Maguire is Virgil van Dijk, and he still loses 20% of what he goes in for. 20% is obviously two times out of the 10 that he goes for. If Man United have an Eric Bailly or a more athletic defender next to Maguire, it means there's that covering behind if he gets turned. Right now, when Maguire loses those defensive duels and somebody runs in behind, we don't have the athleticism or pace at times to recover it. So what it does, it highlights the fact that Maguire didn't win that duel. But Maguire isn't winning less of those duels exponentially than other elite level defenders, is we don't have the covering behind to protect him when he does miss them. Those are just three factors just to qualify or quantify exactly how that works, in my opinion.
And we're also forgetting Dean Henderson as well. Dean Henderson being at that back is also very helpful, because when we play high line, he actually sweeps. He actually sweeps as well. The head never really goes out of his box to that, but Henderson, you see him sprinting, you're like, Hendo, what are you doing? But he will clean the ball clear. And
the best Henderson in the league, KJ. That's what he
come
is.
on now, it's facts. There's a lot more confidence in our back line when Henderson is playing in nets as well.
We're adding Lincoln into the stream here. Sorry, India. Lincoln, what you here to say, mate?
Oh, KJ, I'm so happy that you actually mentioned Henderson right now, because I was about to mention it as soon as I came on. Like Varane, yeah. So Varane with Declan Rice or any other DM, a better DM, will, in my opinion, will be the next step in Ole's tactical progression at Manchester United. Because with Varane partnered with Maguire, and then you have a mobile DM in like Declan Rice, for example, and then you have Henderson sweeping up from the back. Like there's going to be no fear when we're getting caught on the counters. Like we're just going to sweep up. There we go. It's going to be better. On Jules Kounde or Gimenez,
Lincoln, do me a favor. Can you shut down WhatsApp or whatever you've got open?
Discord. It sounds like a Discord.
You got the Discord open.
Makes my brain hurt. Sorry.
Man, it happens all the time. My parents are getting sick of it. Yeah. So when I think of Gimenez, I think of probably one of the best centre back partnerships of the last decade in KJ. Why are you dying?
It's still going.
Is it so? I can still hear it.
It's fine. Keep going.
I can still hear it, he said.
Close the window.
I think Gimenez and Godin, like one of the best centre back partnerships of the last decade. Well, I think you can replicate that with Thiago Silva. Personally, I don't know whether they're going to switch to a back four next season, but if they do, then I'm sorry, this is getting my name.
Close the window. Close the window. Why can't you? How many tabs have you got open with Discord, bruv?
One.
Close it.
It's closed, man.
It can't be closed.
Yeah, I can know it's so funny because I can see Terry's face.
Yeah.
Hey,
can everyone just stop typing in Discord, please, while I'm talking?
No, you close it, man.
No. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, basically that's what I think. I think Gimenez, they should pick Gimenez out of Jules Kounde or Gimenez, because personally, I think. Well, that's this guy's always in the comments trolling. Yeah, I think Jules Kounde, he is a good defender. I've seen some of him, but he is short, a little bit too short for the Premier League, in my opinion.
Oh, bruv, listen, thanks for coming on and having your say, mate. But where'd he go? He threw himself out. I weren't even gonna. I'm about to ask him about that, bruv. Why is that noise still happening? Why is that noise still happening?
Is it gone? It's gone, isn't it?
Can you imagine if it was actually me and I didn't?
Oh man, you should have asked him about wrestling, man.
I was going to ask him about wrestling and the thing.
Lincoln, come back. I know you're watching the stream.
Baby, come back. He's got a lot of Discord to catch up on. We've got CFC Ed on the show now. What are you saying, Eddie boy?
Yes, hi everyone. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I was sort of going to say we need to just stick with Tomori, because like we've got a lot of defenders at the club already who are that similar sort of age bracket to Jules Kounde, which we don't really need. Like we don't really need him. Not going to really disregard his talent, but we've got like Mark Gurry as well, and Malangsar to come in as well. So the only problem though with that is they need time to adjust to sort of the league and to develop these partnerships. But you're not really going to get that at Chelsea, are you? So yeah, that's my only really concern with that.
With Chelsea, you just got to be good enough. You know, we've seen with Mason Mount, you've just got to be good enough, consistently enough, and you'll get the opportunities. Reece James, good enough, consistently enough to keep getting the opportunities. If you come in and at 10 games, you have 5 stinkers, you're not going to be given more time at Chelsea because the club's about winning. And that's all they ever care about. Listen, Ed, thank you very much for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Top man. KJ, Indiana, it's a pleasure as always. We're back 5 p.m. today. We're previewing Chelsea, Manchester City, the FA Cup semi-final. So make sure you're tuning in. It's going to be an epic show. After the Arsenal-Man United games tonight, of course, we will be live. Lincoln's back with us again now. So make sure you're tuning in this evening. Lincoln, is there a WWE Centre of Excellence in the UK?
Do you mean performance centre? Yeah, there is a performance centre, actually.
Yeah, I've got access to that.
Look at his face.
I can go to that whenever I want. I can have lunch there if I want.
No,
Good,
you're joking.
No, I'm not joking.
You're pulling the string when you're pulling my string, Terry.
It's not.
So our new partners are official partners with whatever the company is behind WWE. Like they're on first name terms with Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. Give me Sport actually very good with WWE.
Yes,
actually.
And they've got the direct partnership. You know, them and Vince McMahon are like this, bruv. Do you know what I mean? So you look very excited. Look at his face.
No, literally, yes. I had the stream playing whilst I was doing something in my room, just tearing up the room, and I hear Terry talk about Give Me Sport and WWE, and then I hear KG, and then I hear KG, and then it's literally like, so I basically like this, and I was like, and then I was looking at the TV, and I was like,
I love you, Lincoln.
I heard my name. I was
Listen,
like,
let's get ready to rumble. No, Joe, I'm going to say, thank you, everybody, tuned in, and go home.